Oh no. That's probably what you're thinking the moment you book a flight to Japan and then open the hotel search. There are way too many options, but don't worry, let's figure it out. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour. I'm a photographer and guide here in Japan, and today we are talking about where to stay, because once you start looking up hotels, the questions will pile up very quickly, such as, where are you supposed to stay? Should you just choose a familiar international brand because it feels safe? But then you'll see the price of those and you'll be like, wait, why is this so much more expensive than other hotels in Japan? But at the same time, you've heard the saying, you get what you pay for. So then you start wondering, can you really trust some of these hotels that are like 50 bucks a night? And then you'll realize an even bigger problem. Tokyo is huge. Shinjuku, Tokyo Station, Ginza, Asakusa, Ueno, Shibuya, Shinagawa. You've probably heard a lot of these, but which one is actually the right place to stay? And the more you research, the more your brain will just start melting, like you left it in the onsen. So today, let's make this simple. I'm gonna walk you through general price ranges, so you know what normal looks like, the main types of accommodations in Japan, famous hotel chains you will see everywhere, and where it actually makes sense to stay in popular destinations. So first, what hotel prices feel like in Japan. If you're coming from the US, your sense of normal hotel prices is probably going to be totally different. If you want a hotel in Manhattan that feels clean and safe and reasonably located, you're probably going to be looking at $250 to $400 a night. And depending on the season, often more. In places like LA or Vegas, it varies a lot by area and timing, but many people expect something like $150 to $300 for a normal hotel at night. And when I travel in a lot of places in the States and even around Europe, oftentimes the hotel is going to end up being the major expense. But in Japan, it really doesn't have to be that way. So let me give you an idea of what a normal hotel price is here as a point of reference before we continue. In cities, you can usually find a single room at a business hotel for around 8,000 to 15,000 yen per person per night. In central areas of Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, or during busy seasons, it's not unusual for these business hotels to cost maybe 15 to 25,000 yen or so per night. A nicer 3-star, 4-star hotel might run you about 20,000 to 50,000 yen per night for a couple in a central area, leaning a bit towards the lower middle of that range. And then a high-end 4-star, 5-star is going to be 50,000 to often over 100,000 yen per night if you're really looking at something bougie. Of course, during peak seasons, cherry blossoms, autumn foliage, Golden Week, New Year, big events, prices can spike a lot. I want you to treat these as rough vibes and not fixed prices. But generally speaking, a lot of travelers feel like a clean, safe hotel near a major station can be a lot cheaper in Japan than in many other major cities in popular tourist destinations. Next, the main types of accommodations and who each one is best for. Let's start off with some different types of hotels. First up, we have the obvious for many, which would be international hotel brands. Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton. You'll find these in major cities like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, plus places like Okinawa, Hokkaido, resort areas. And if you're using credit card points, you have hotel status, or you just want something that you already trust, these can be super reassuring. The room style, the bed, the breakfast, the staff, the English support, concierge service, it's all going to be very familiar. One of the biggest advantages of these places is the flexibility. Japanese service is famous for being spectacular, polite, clean, professional, but it also tends to follow rules very strictly. If your request is not part of the hotel's normal service, you will probably get the, "We are very, very sorry, but we do not offer that service at our hotel." And they will say it with the most apologetic, sad expression you've ever seen, but the answer is still no. International brands are often more used to handling different kinds of requests from foreign guests, things like slightly complicated taxi arrangements, restaurant reservations, birthday or proposal help, luggage delivery questions, English language support, calling local shops for you, and of course it'll depend on the property and the staff, but in general, luxury international hotels tend to treat flexibility as part of their luxury. So if you like asking hotel staff for help, or you think that you might when you are there, international brands can be really reassuring. You're not just paying for the room, you're kind of just paying for the support system. But the downside would be they're expensive, they're very easy to recognize, they get booked fast, and they have a lot of costly facilities to run. Additionally, sometimes the locations can be weirdly inconvenient. Luxury hotels need space. They have big lobbies, they have car drop-off areas, they have restaurants, sometimes gyms and spas, and that's always not going to work right in the middle of convenient sightseeing zones. Always check the map and ask, is this location actually going to make my day easier? Next up would be Japanese luxury hotels. So Japanese luxury can feel a little different from Western luxury. If Western luxury is sometimes we provide everything, Japanese luxury is more like we're going to give you this quiet beauty in this calm space and a strong sense of place. And what I mean by that is more understated design, beautiful materials, a very beautiful breakfast, thoughtful service, and a vibe that is calm and distinctly Japanese without needing to do the traditional Japanese ryokan hotel whatever experience. So in cities, Japanese luxury hotels are going to be often an amazing middle ground where you get high-end comfort and service. The location is usually convenient for sightseeing and restaurants, and you get to really feel like you're in Japan, not at the Hilton. Examples you might see in Tokyo and Kyoto would be the Mitsui Kyoto, Hotel de Celestine Kyoto Gion, Soaka, Hoshinoya Tokyo, amongst many others. These are often great for couples or just anyone who wants a little bit more of a wow experience that still fits a busy city itinerary. Potential downsides would be the rooms are probably going to be smaller than the international luxury hotels. And then some hotels lean quite minimalist, which can sometimes feel maybe too quiet or simple for you. English support is usually good, but it can vary by chain. If you want luxury that feels rooted in Japan while still being easy and city friendly, I would recommend checking out Japanese hotels. Next up is a ryokan. A ryokan is different from a normal hotel. A hotel is usually, and typically should be, a base for sightseeing and transportation. But a ryokan is often a destination in itself. A lot of the classic ryokan experience people imagine is an onsen ryokan in a hot spring town, maybe Hakone, Izu, Kusatsu, Kinosaki, Arima. They're going to be further from city centers. Not every ryokan has natural hot springs, and some city ryokan are more like renovated traditional hotels, but the usual vibe is Japanese style rooms, a very quiet atmosphere, and meals. Many onsen ryokan and higher end ryokan, dinner and breakfast are going to be served on site, and that often means a kaiseki style dinner and a Japanese style very elaborate breakfast. And so the rhythm of ryokan is less go out at night and go sightsee, and more arrive early, check in, take a nice bath, have dinner, take a bath again, have a nice rest on the ground, and then wake up and have a beautiful breakfast. That's why a ryokan usually isn't the best fit if you want to stay in the middle of the city and be out from morning until late at night. You can show up at a ryokan and check in late and leave early, but it's kind of a waste because the value is the full experience. If you're staying at an onsen ryokan, a private bath or a room with an open-air bath is also recommended because it's often more comfortable for couples, families. Public baths with other people are a very Japanese experience that I generally recommend, but some people feel uncomfortable with that, and tattoos can often be restricted in those as well. Key idea, ryokan are not just places to sleep, they are often one of the main events, often highlights of your trip. Next up is business hotels. These are your practical MVP. And the name business hotel honestly sounds so boring. I see like a tired salaryman eating a rice ball under fluorescent lights, but actually Japanese business hotels are one of the best value options for foreign tourists. They are compact, they are clean, they are simple, they are convenient. And the rooms might be small. I know I hear this a lot. They're quite small. You're probably gonna like walk in there if you're American and be like, okay, where's the rest of the room? But usually you get what you need. You have a bed, you have a bathroom, a desk, you have a kettle, little fridge, pajamas, amenities, air conditioning, Wi-Fi. It's like a dorm room essentially. You have everything you need in that one space. So some famous chains include Appa, Toyoko, Dormy Inn, Daiwa Roynet, Richmond Hotel, Hotel Root Inn, Super Hotel, Sotetsu Fresa Inn, JR Inn, and Tokyu Stay. So quick vibe notes. One of the most famous would be Appa Hotel. It's everywhere. It's super convenient. It's often quite affordable. Rooms are very small, but some locations even have things like public baths and convenience stores inside. Toyoko Inn is simple, consistent, near stations. Dormy Inn is an easy recommendation, and many have a large public bath, and some even do free late night ramen. Daiwa Roynet in Richmond, often a little more comfortable than the cheapest options. Tokyu Stay, great for longer stays. Some rooms have washing machines or even like small kitchenettes. The big advantages of these are going to be location, price, efficiency. And for a lot of travelers, a business hotel in a great location is quite possibly going to be more satisfying than a plush luxury hotel in an inconvenient location. Since business hotels are often used by Japanese people on business trips or who just understand public transit and convenience, they are typically well located. The main downside, as I mentioned, would be room size. If you have 2 big suitcases, you're going to play Tetris and you will open one suitcase and have no floor, but that's life. And service can be basic. They often actually do help to some extent with luggage delivery, basic questions, but you're not going to get concierge level support. Now, I want to give you a few notes about hotels that you should know when you're looking at booking them before I continue into more types of accommodations. The first note is that in Japan, the price of a room is often affected by how many people are staying and not just the room type. This is especially common with ryokan and meal included plans because each person will need meals, bedding, yukata, amenities, service, but you'll see it everywhere, and when you book a hotel in Japan, always enter the correct number of guests because otherwise you might see a price for one person and you're going to think, wow, that's cheap, and then suddenly, boom, 3 people, wow, room price radically changed. Second, the rooms themselves are often much smaller, but beds can be smaller too. Be aware that when you're searching on booking websites, prices for 2 people will often indicate a room with like 1 double-sized bed, maybe a queen. And for many people, that's not preferable. If you want 2 twin beds or something bigger than that, you're gonna have to put that into the filtering options, and those will tend to be more expensive as well. Third, make sure that you're not accidentally booking a smoking room. In business hotels, especially, smoking and non-smoking are often separate room types, so if you do not want to be in a smoking room, filter for that, or if you do, filter for that. Continuing on, accommodation types would be capsule hotels and manga cafes. This should not be part of your main plan, in my humble opinion. Capsule hotels often get marketed as this unique Japanese experience. You are sleeping in a pod and you have like lockers, you have shared showers, sometimes maybe like a shared public bath. And I think for one night, maybe as like a story, like it could be fun. Especially if you're traveling by yourself, you don't have a lot of luggage and you want to save money. But I don't usually recommend capsule hotels as your main accommodation. You don't really have private space. Your luggage needs to be stored properly, separately. You will have to be quiet. You'll hear people moving around all night. And frankly, I have never gotten more back pain in my life than when I have slept in one of these pods. After a long day of sightseeing, it will probably stop being fun Japan and start being sleeping inside of a human drawer. Also, manga cafes and internet cafes. You may know that you can often go to these places and rent them and sleep there, but this should not be any kind of major plan. Use this as an emergency backup plan when you stay out past the last train, don't want to take a taxi. Yeah, I don't know, maybe just don't. But they're not tourist accommodations. I just throw them in here because someone's gonna say it. If you want to save money, I would look at hostels that are not capsule style or cheap business hotels first. Next up, Airbnbs. Airbnbs are great for space, but they are not always the easiest option. So while often great in Japan and better in Japan actually than many other countries because they have much stricter rules and regulations, for first-time visitors, I don't know if they're always the simplest option. Some upsides would be more space, typically have a kitchen, often have laundry, and you have the lovely feeling of living in a neighborhood. But the downsides, check-in can be more complicated. You have key boxes you gotta access, you have limited support, you have very strict arrival times often. More often than not, the location can be less convenient than it looks because these are typically gonna be rental spaces that maybe are a little more outside of the main touristy areas. And also often you have rules. You have noise rules, you have guest rules, you have trash sorting rules. And if you have neighbors living around you, they will be like normal Japanese people who are very sensitive to noise. If you do choose an Airbnb, I would prioritize first a short walk to a major station, or at least to a station that connects very quickly and easily. Clear check-in instructions and strong recent reviews about that. Honest photos, realistic layout in those photos for space, and generally speaking, for short, busy trips, hotels are often going to be easier. But for longer stays, people with big families, you really want a kitchen or laundry at one point in your trip, Airbnb can be worth it. Now, let's talk about where to stay, because honestly, location is often more important than your hotel brand or sometimes your hotel itself. A beautiful hotel in a bad location will make every day annoying. A normal hotel in a great location will make your whole trip so much smoother. So let's talk about Tokyo first. So Tokyo is big, and I think it's bigger than many people even expect. So even within Tokyo, traveling between places like Shinjuku and Asakusa can take 40 to 50 minutes when you include walking inside stations, waiting for trains. Tokyo trains are great. It's just that everything is very spread out, and the stations themselves are also massive. For first-time visitors, the two areas that I generally recommend would be staying by Shinjuku and staying in the Tokyo Station area. That does not mean that staying in places like Asakusa, Ueno, Shibuya, or Ginza are bad. I have stayed in a lot of different areas of Tokyo, and they can all be amazing depending on your style. But if you're not sure where to start, Shinjuku and Tokyo Station are the easiest, safe choices. So Shinjuku, why Shinjuku? It is a massive transportation hub. It is very, very, very convenient for getting around Tokyo, and it is also great for day trips outside of Tokyo, such as to Hakone. The Odakyu line leaves from Shinjuku. Fuji or Kawaguchiko, you have buses that leave from the Shinjuku bus terminal. And airports, you have pretty straightforward access to both Haneda and Narita. It's also very easy to reach Shibuya, Harajuku, and Omotesando from Shinjuku. And Shinjuku itself is a destination. You have Golden Gai, you have Omoide Yokucho, you have Kabukicho, you have department stores, electronics, restaurants, bars, so much stuff and lots of energy. And so that's great if your hotel maybe doesn't include meals or something. You're not going to struggle to find food or something to do. Downside of Shinjuku, it can be overwhelming. It is crowded. The station is very, very big. I have a video on it. And there are a million exits in that station. And of course, you have to know that Kabukicho does have a stronger nightlife vibe. So if you want the Shinjuku convenience without maybe the chaos of that nightlife area, consider the west side of Shinjuku or a slightly quieter hotel. In Tokyo Station area, Tokyo Station is especially useful at the end of your trip. A lot of people will fly into Tokyo, then they will travel to Kyoto, Osaka, and then often come back to Tokyo before flying home. In that case, staying near Tokyo Station for the last night or last few nights can reduce some stress. Tokyo Station is also a major Shinkansen hub, so it's great if you're coming back from these areas. It's also close to Ginza, Nihonbashi, Marunouchi, Otemachi, so it's very good for shopping, and it's a bit more of a polished city atmosphere. Tokyo Station itself is literally just a giant food and shopping maze. I have a Tokyo Station video, and if you watch it, you will find out that literally it's basically a city inside of a city. Even if you're tired, you can still eat well and shop without traveling very far. Next up, what about the Kansai area? Kansai would often be Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, Kobe. I'm gonna throw Himeji in there. For a lot of Kansai trips, Kyoto works really well as a hub. So if on your trip you're doing Kyoto and Osaka, maybe Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, you do not need to change hotels every time. You can stay in Kyoto and you can do day trips to these places. And this is especially true if your focus is Shrines, temples, gardens, traditional streets, historic atmosphere. And I also want to say that, at least with the types of people who tend to watch my videos and end up chatting with me, I hear very frequently that they regret spending so much time in Osaka and not enough in Kyoto. I'm not just biased, I'm literally telling you that I have had so many people tell me this. Consider basing yourself in Kyoto and doing a day trip or two to Osaka. It's so close by. In Kyoto, the two areas I usually recommend would be the Kyoto Kawaramachi area and the Kyoto Station area. Kyoto Kawaramachi is probably my favorite area of the city, generally speaking. It's great for food, shopping, evening walks, Gion, Pontocho, Nishiki Market, the Kamo River. It's very, very easy to find things to do, things to eat. And Kyoto Station is stronger just for pure transportation purposes. You have the Shinkansen there, you have the JR lines, you have the subway, you have buses, taxis, lockers, luggage delivery services, restaurants, department stores, and it's all in one place. If you're using Kyoto as a base for a lot of day trips, staying near Kyoto Station is probably your easiest bet. When should you base in Osaka instead? Osaka is a better fit perhaps if you care more about nightlife, you're obsessed with this idea of street food, shopping, bars, more of an urban vibe. In Osaka, I generally recommend staying around Namba. It's easy to understand. It's got that classic Osaka energy. Umeda can be convenient, especially for transportation, but I think if you're staying in Osaka, you probably want that nightlife, fun feeling, and so Namba is going to feed you that. One big exception, if you're going to Universal Studios Japan, I strongly, strongly recommend staying one night near Universal City. A USJ day is exhausting. You're gonna wanna arrive early, you're gonna wanna stay late, especially with kids, if you have the express pass plans, etc., and staying nearby will make a very, very big difference. Otherwise, I generally recommend not bouncing around hotels in the Kansai area. This seems to be one of the biggest mistakes people have told me about, and that I just know myself living here. Just choose a city and travel around from there. Everything here is astoundingly close together, I promise. One more city I want to talk about is Hiroshima. So for most travelers, Hiroshima works best as a one-night, two-day trip at a minimum. And generally, I recommend staying in central Hiroshima City, not Miyajima. You may have seen my Hiroshima video, which I recommend watching. Miyajima is an island. It is very beautiful. It has Itsukushima Shrine. It has ocean views. It has deer. It has a very quiet vibe in the morning and the evening. But if you only have one night, central Hiroshima is more practical. Look for areas with easy access to the atomic bomb dome, the Peace Memorial Park, Hondori. Basically, my recommendation is this area on the map, and that way you can easily visit the main sites, and you'll also have lots of food options at night because it's a city. Okonomiyaki, izakaya, restaurants, everything. You can visit Miyajima during the day and return to Hiroshima City in the late afternoon or evening. If you specifically want that quiet early morning or late night Miyajima atmosphere, then staying on the island can be amazing, but for a general Hiroshima stop, the city center is easier. So my final thoughts, when you choose a hotel in Japan, there are two basic strategies. Stay near a transportation hub and stay near the center of sightseeing / food / shopping. If you stay near a hub, Shinkansen rides, airport transfers, day trips, and early mornings get easier. But if you stay near the sightseeing food center, dinner and evening walks are going to be so much easier and fun, and your daily sightseeing will flow better. What you want to avoid, though, is a hotel that looks gorgeous, but makes every single trip across town annoying. You also don't need to stay overnight in every city you visit, please. Switching hotels takes more energy than you might expect. You have to pack each time, you have to check out, you have to move all your stuff, maybe store it, maybe mail it or whatever, check in again, learn this new area, and it's gonna really suck your energy away. Some places are worth staying overnight, like Hiroshima, like I said, and onsen ryokan. These places where the overnight stay is the whole point, but please don't think that the city name changed, so I must change hotels. No. And my last reminder is don't just look at room photos, look at the map. How long does it take you to get from the hotel to the places you actually want to visit? Especially in scenic areas, I see this a lot. The photos on the website or in the booking page or whatever will include photos of the surrounding sightseeing areas. But this doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually truly close by. I want you to pull up your map app, look at the different things that you have saved that you want to go to, and look at where the hotel is and see if that's actually convenient. Is it also easy to get to a station from where it is? Is there food nearby? Is it going to be easy to get to this place if you have lots of luggage? How is the airport in Shinkansen access, if that's essential? So in Japan, hotel location really makes more difference than the luxury level. Because I've said this before, the most expensive hotel is not always the best hotel, and sometimes the cheap hotels can be fantastic. Every hotel I've ever stayed at in Japan, even back when I was a broke college student, has been fantastic. I have never had any sort of negative experience outside of very, very minor things. Just keep that in mind, especially as someone that has traveled many other places outside of Japan. You're sometimes gambling, right? I've never felt that sense of gambling here. I've just always been very satisfied with everything that I have received and experienced. The best hotel is the one that makes your trip feel the smoothest. That's it, folks. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know in the comments the places you want to visit in Japan, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!